The start, so please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. I'll accept a motion to approve the agenda.
I move we approve the agenda.
Second. All right. All in favor, say aye. Any opposed? All right, the motion carries and the agenda is approved. Do we not have any comments from the public today? So we will move from item 3 since we have no one who signed up to speak. All right. Except, actually, well, first, do we have any items we need to remove from the consent agenda? Accept a motion to approve consent agenda. So moved. All in favor of approving the consent agenda? Say aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We'll move to item number 6. We have an administrator's executive recommendation regarding the janitorial service. It looks like it's been circulated for ADR cleaning. Claims and warrants, I believe, we put back in the consent agenda. Did you want to talk about that?
Sorry,
No, you're good. Let's talk about claims and warrants, or we go with that being the consent agenda. All right, we're good. All right, it's the administrator's executive recommendation. So just to get the conversation started on that point, I will make a motion to accept the administrator's executive recommendation for hiring AER cleaning for janitorial services.
How did you move?
I moved. All right, all discussion.
Melissa, is this contract intended to replace rocket science
Yes.
in full, not just to supplement them, but to actually replace?
Correct. So, we told them, we did notify them, in the current contract has a 30-day cancellation. So we did notify them that we were going to be issuing the RFP, and, if they were selected as the new, that we would, if we wanted to continue with them, we would issue a new contract. So we have.
So I know that we're not pleased with our situation before, so that takes some action. Just generally, AER's proposal, how pricing, where they fit in the scheme compared to rock science.
So we had 5 responses. The top 3 were all within 1,000 or 2 of each other. And then we had 2 that were much cheaper, and that included rocket science. And then the other one who was at that level has never done a thing of our size. They've only done smaller facilities. So we were concerned that this would be a big jump, and we might not actually be able to. So it is more, we have added it to the budget for next year so that we knew it was gonna go up. Everything has gone up.
Is there anything? Oh, sorry. I was just gonna ask if this covers more services than rocket science did, or is it a comparable?
It's the same services, we just actually do it.
Yeah. Okay.
Is there anything in the contract that says like if you don't meet our standards that we, okay,
We're gonna request that there will still be that 30-day. So, the old contract had at any point we could cancel within 30 days. So if we aren't satisfied, then we can issue an ask for more.
Any other questions or discussion? All right, then all in favor of accepting the proposal, say aye. So the next item on our agenda today is patient update. I think it's on yet.
Good time. And I know Greg didn't get his report in. Greg's had some issues in his family, so I apologize for that. But there's really not a lot necessarily to report that's changed. Kind of things are moving along, so I don't want to make it sound that way, but starting at Fisher's, that project's really in the process of closing out, and I think that may be what we're trying to schedule the building committee for. I'm not sure, but I'm seeing a smile, so I'm gonna take that as maybe a yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So we can dig into that a little more, but it is in that process of trying to close out. With having the firewall resolved at the state level, that kind of is gonna allow that cascade downhill to get the rest of the issues cleaned up, because everything else is a local level issue. So I know there's things with the fire marshal and, things like that that are frustratingly, they just get noticed by somebody at the end it's been there for 20 years, and suddenly they don't like what they see. So working on getting those things cleaned up, but I think it's just now how do we deal with those on an individual basis? I think the last outstanding thing there is some work in the children's area, more the tree, kind of more of an artwork furniture component that the kids will interact with, but that will bring that project effectively to closure. Here at Noblesville, I think everybody can see we're getting a heck of a lot closer. I mean, a lot of the space is usable, even the teens area is getting pretty close to looking completed. I know there's been some additional things that have been talked about being added to kind of finish a few additional things out. So I know Greg's in the process of clarifying those change orders to get those items resolved, but other than that, again, this one's moving to completion. I know Duncan, the kind of phase one is really in the final throes of closing all that. That all the closeout paperwork is here and present. So it'll just be finishing up what's phase two, which was mostly this interior work with Ferguson. So, but I don't think there's any shockers in terms of, like I said, big news other than just winding everything up at this point. So this is a case of no news is good news. We'll take it. It's had some successful ribbon cuttings, the space is opening to the public. That's what we really want to see, not all this other stuff that we've frustratingly been trying to resolve the last year or so. They may have any questions or? All right.
Any other discussion? Thanks so much, Kevin.
Thank you very much.
All right, now I'll move on to the next item on our agenda, which is the vision board.
We're excited to announce that we've made an offer for the foundation director to Lisa Longo. We will have her at the July board meeting so we can introduce her to you. She's going to officially start July 15th. She has decades of experience in the philanthropy world, and she's a longtime Fishers resident, and we're really excited to bring her on board.
I do have a related motion I'd like to make that, and that is as we establish the structure of the foundation and the board of directors, I would like, and I think we would all likely appreciate seeing some representation from this board on that board. So I'll make a motion to dedicate 2 seats on the foundation board from board of trustees for the library. Second that.
All right, seconded, any discussion on that point?
It is the, how to see these.
Yeah, I think we need to, I think that we need to discuss if we want to,
I'll help, not I.
What we probably should do is almost just here, just throwing this out there, we just treat it almost as a kind of committee of the board. So every year we do appointments, two members would strictly a committee, but be appointed to the other board.
so rotate in and out annually for video.
Or
I can-
Go ahead.
Forgive me. I can tell you that is the most common practice that I've seen among libraries that have foundations. I've not yet seen a free for all among board members. I would like to be the designee on the foundation board. I suppose it's possible, but normally they just decide it between themselves year to year. Some libraries let the president just decide committees and make those appointments, but yes, I mean, I think you could just leave that to be decided, and if you need some more formal selection process, you can add that in later.
And a question for you, are those, when you have the library board members serving on the foundation board, are those typically full board members or are they like non-voting observers, or how does that typically work?
So you could make it either way. I mean, you could have a liaison from this board to the foundation, or you can ask that they be actual board members if you want voting seats. Now, keep in mind, and I think I've told you this in the past, that foundations normally have larger boards than you do, and that's intentional, and that's to get money. Because foundation board members are expected to contribute to the foundation. So if you want 2 seats, you might be 2 seats on a 15 or 20 member board. So it's not gonna be control, it's just gonna be a transparency or informational, and be able to have a voice. You'd still have a voice as a liaison, or you could have a voice as a 2 votes out of 20 or 2 votes out of 15.
Well, I think if anybody's like, hey, I don't.
And I am interested for the police, and I like the 1 year commitment.
Me too.
Okay.
And I think to follow up on Craig's question, and I think in your conversations with us in the past, the ratio, the portion of board members who contribute financially affects it. Is there a way, like what I don't want to see us do is be like, hey, congratulations, you're a representative, you are now expected to donate to the foundation. I don't necessarily want that to carry from the 7 of us. So if there's a way to tailor that, I'm not saying
Then-
don't contribute, but I don't want that expectation to follow just by us having it.
Then I would suggest you only be liaisons
Gotcha.
and you not be voting board members, because the bylaws generally would make the requirements of voting board members would have financial contributions and not necessarily a liaison.
I don't know, what do you think?
I like that, yeah. That would be easier to rotate.
Well, yeah, I was gonna say, people are gonna move in and out, and to have the requirement of a financial contribution. Our board's gonna change, not everybody's going to be in a position to do that, so it may work better to have the liaison from work seats.
Typically with the financial contribution, is that left to the individual? Is there usually a set amount that board members are expected? So that's decided as a board. I don't know. I might be devil's advocate here, but the skin in the game is, I think, okay, because we obviously spend a lot of time as board members. There's that idea of time, talent, and treasure, and I don't know, I don't think it's out of the question to expect.
Well, and to that point, if we do decide to do regular board members, you're not required to serve on the foundation board as a board member. Would be a voluntary.
Right.
What
So
kind of typical contribution? Like what, are we talking about tens of thousands of dollars? Or are we talking, that's what I'm trying to figure out.
yeah, that's might be different.
So it can vary widely. I mean, it might start out at 500. I mean, some of them are more than that. Some of them start out, at 1,000. I don't know who your new board is going to be and what they're going to think is the appropriate start.
So it would be a yearly, it's a yearly commitment or
Annual commitment,
an
yes.
annual commitment, okay.
What does Carmel?
I don't know what Carmel's current one is, honestly. What's current?
Do you know, Melissa, like, with previous every foundation?
I don't have that much experience. The experience. I don't know, but, I know. Yeah, I
Tell you, they're not library foundations, but I sit on other boards. I just rolled off a board where the annual contribution was 5,000 that was expected annually. I have another one I still sit on, which is 1,000 annually. You know, I have other ones where it is you are expected to give, but there's no dollar amount. It is you are expected to give.
Yeah, so I think that's the difference between, it's common in nonprofit boards and maybe as a public board, we're off the hook. So, but it's typically quite common.
And it's because of the grants you apply for. When you apply, one of the questions is going to be, do your board members make a financial contribution? You said skin in the game, that granting, the grant workers want to know if you're going to be more.
So we don't know what board's gonna think it's contribution, so is there a way we split the difference here and appoint 2 liaisons, and then the liaisons have the election to become a full board member, who they're making whatever the contribution is?
No, because they're gonna form their organization. If you're going to tell them about their membership, which you're paying for the formation of, now is the time to pass that along. Rather than let them go down the merry road.
Are we covered though by the bond? I'm sorry.
just gonna say, can they vote on the 2 members and then, you know, think about it and then vote on whether they want them as liaison or full board member?
No, I suppose the better suggestion would be to tell you to 2 members, and then it's not involuntary servitude, folks. If they, if they make it a $10,000 annual contribution, and there's not any of you, whoever you are at the time they make it 10,000, who's willing to say, great, sign me up, then those appointments are not filled. They said empty.
In the grand scheme of things, it probably makes sense. Because we are at foundational stage, look, we want to have 2 board members. We cross the financial.
Right, because what message does it send to the rest of the foundation board? If we have excused ourselves from the financial commitment, but we're looking to all 20 of you to do it.
Right.
So it's a little bit of a mixed message. I don't want to give 10 stuff. I'll bring to that point, but.
Necessarily, you know, in Ann's position of, you know, serving on multiple boards and paying $5,000 and like multiple of us work in public service and have for our entire careers. And that's where we're at. And so, yeah, if it's 10 grand, I'm not. Just toured Northwestern on Tuesday. You know.
Right.
There's another kid behind her, so,
Did I say I'm grateful I just rolled off that board that requires $5,000?
Nice.
correct, no, and that's where we're all at this point, and so we.
Seems that would seem unlikely that.
Right.
I would agree, right?
I agree, and I think as the boards put together, at what point is this set up? When you set up the bylaws with the foundation director? Is that when all of this is laid out?
Yes,
Okay,
which is between July and December.
Right.
And there's quite a bit of other ways that, you know, she'll be working to, it's not, the money isn't just coming from the dues, you know, so there
Right.
there'll be.
The idea of the grants and the events and sponsorships and all the things. And I guess just one final thought, the way I look at it is, you know, it's, as you live your life, your interests change and your passions change. And so I give to organizations, I might pull back on that to give more to the library, you know, it's just that kind of shifts over time. And that's just a thought I put out there too. Ease the financial burden concern, because I hear you. Yeah, I got two going.
Yeah, but,
It's tough.
so I think it sounds like we have, I don't know if we need to adjust your motion, but I think I'll agree that we'll look the same way we handle the appointments. The board president just more or less draws it up. We all say, hey, this is look good, and we approve that in July. In January, I know it comes up regularly of who the appointment, who's appointed each committee. If we handle it the same way, that makes a lot of sense, because we can have those dialogues.
Oh, I was gonna say, right, probably it is an additional time commitment, more than a regular committee appointment. If there's gonna be a financial commitment, well, I think, but to begin with, you need somebody who's gonna be willing to volunteer the time and not be assigned it as a committee. Because it's gonna be another set of meetings, and as it gets off the ground, it's gonna take a lot of time. So to have it assigned the way our committees are signed might not quite,
Just say no, Susan.
just say no.
Just say no.
Well, I'm saying yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I hate to deter such wonderful, possible, you know, candidates for that.
I think, again, I think you're fine if you wish to send the message now, vote on the original motion, which was to reserve 2 seats for this board. And then when it comes time for the assignment of those seats, see if you have, forgive me, 2 people that are interested and willing, knowing then what more that truly entails. I know you all want to do.
The motion passes. Yes.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Uh,
Any opposed? Motion carries.
All right.
Next.
So moving on, the feasibility study update, so met with Veritas as just a kickoff meeting to discuss, you know, frequency of meetings, what the reporting will look like. So we do have a long range planning committee meeting scheduled for before the July meeting, after which they will stay and update the full board. So that's moving forward. The Fisher's Library ribbon cutting, Kelsey did a really great job getting that organized. Just so she, you know, got all the people invited and, you know, had all of the food and, you know, it was her idea to put the yard games out for that event. And then there were so many people who, after the event was over, just kept playing it, that we actually ordered some specifically to just leave out all summer long. And yeah, and they're used all the time. So when I'm there, I see people use them constantly. So, but just want to shout out how she did just a really wonderful job. And then the outreach man is here. And we for the time being, we have like a magnet with our library logo on it that is going to go on it. We're working with local artists to do the wrap. We're still figuring out the budget for that. So there was a budget for the company that designed the van to do the wrap, and then just all of the designs, they came back worse and worse and worse. We decided we're going to just do this locally. Let's get the van here. So we're hoping to stay around that same budget. we're just trying to pin down numbers with, artists, and then, hopefully we can have that done soon. Um, and then in addition to the art games that we have out right now at the Fisher's Library, we're excited that we are gonna start circulating yard games. So people will be able to check these, out at, both libraries. So, everything from, we have the giant connect four and, croquet and bocce balls, and there's I believe something called, correct me if I'm wrong, just, is it flickin' chicken? Should we order that? Okay, well, that was, flickin' chicken was at one point discussed. But we have some fun games, so people will be able to check those out. And we're excited to have that. So that should be coming very soon. We're just working on the packaging that we're gonna have them in. Construction updates, the collection services team are back in their office. And our public services team have moved up to the temporary space as they are getting that remodeled. And you should peek in there. It's very weird with it. If you ever saw it beforehand, it's very open right now. And then we are moving things back into the teen zone, and also just really excited to have the collection back open for the public. So, you know, thank you people for your patience. We appreciate it. So yes. Also, we were also a polling place here at the Noblesville Library, and we are going to be a polling place in November at both locations. So we didn't in Fishers because we were still, we weren't sure where we would be with construction, but we will be a polling place in both Fishers and Noblesville. And then this is our first year on the Peony Trail. So if you're familiar with the Noblesville Peony Festival that they have, Kelsey and Brad worked with the city and so we planted our peonies, and then we were on the map, and then our outreach team had a booth at the festival, which was quite packed this year. I think it just gets bigger and bigger every year, and I heard the traffic was fun for that. And then in addition, Caitlin had a committee of staff that looked at applications to do a mural in the hobby and Fishers. So they selected a muralist, and then if you can see some of the work, and it looks just bright and colorful, and we're excited to get it started. And that should be done by October. So those are just some of the highlights. But any questions about the month of May? No, good.
And accept, keep us updated on.
Yes, they've been using it out in the.
Questions for Melissa, further discussion? Any other old or new business?
Just have a question. I just was curious about, I know we have the one book under review. Susan, and
Yeah.
can you give us a little update on that?
Well, we are scheduled to meet on the ninth, I was gonna say 7th or 9th at the odd number of July. And we have a meeting reserved. We're gonna do that in Fishers, and Anna's going to be there to help us make sure we're covered with all the things we're gonna do. I finished reading the book. I'm in the process of now going back through and making notes for discussion and that type of thing. So we'll have a report next board meeting about whatever was decided in the meeting. I think it should be a one meeting thing. I can't imagine it dragging on.
Then do we have on it? I mean,
Well, so now the committee will make a recommendation, and then, but then it's a board decision. So it's not whatever the committee decided is final. It's the project committee, and then
which other committee?
And Anita from the library board, and there's always a board member, library staff member, and a community member, which I'm not sure how's community members.
So People can volunteer, so on the website, there's a form you can fill out to volunteer. And then we just do, a random selection, like we do a random name generator from the list.
And just so the board knows, I asked Susan if she wanted me to attend. My only role is to reassure the committee that about their process and what they can do. And just to, give them comfort in their
Right.
process.
Yeah, and this is my first go round.
Right.
So just, yes, and offer tonight.
I have no opinions, I'm not reading the book. Just there for questions about the process of them reviewing.
Is that a public meeting or? Okay. And can you remind me the name of?
If tomorrow doesn't. Jen St. Jude.
And it's a meeting on the one side.
It is not, we'll put notice down.
You had longer vote than I did.
Yeah, you have to picture that.
Well, yes, mine was much. Yes. But, doing what I do, it was not a sacrifice to read a book. So.
Oh, no. Please don't get me.
New business. End of our agenda, so,
Motion to adjourn?
sure.